Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, the 18th of January, something like that. Today is a day of significance because in a little while I'm going to have a delivery of some parts, most of which is going to sit on the shelf. But one of these items is going to help with the resurrection of Graham Tinkerbell Nuts Garden. Graham Tinkerbell Nuts Garden, who's there, and now he's behind me. And Graham Tinkerbell Nuts Garden will be getting finished off probably early next week. But what about the mystery car? Alright. This is a Rover R8, a 416 SLI. It is silver. It has scabby bits. It has more scabby, again, scabby bits. It's 28 years old, so it's allowed a few scabby bits. Take a good look because I will be making this better. It has an automatic gearbox. It has a fair bit of cleaning up needs to be done, and a Honda single cam engine. It has a boot that is mostly dry, just a bit condensationally, otherwise not too bad. With every car that ends up in this yard, there's a story to tell. And this car is no different. So I shall tell you this car's story now. Or at least the bit of it I know. The story began many months ago. Boaty and I went to see this car. Actually, it wasn't that many months, but it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this story. We went to see this car with a view to buying it, but our offer was refused. That's the story. It's, well, be honest, it's not a good story. It's not a very long story. And to top it all, it's not even that relevant. But what is relevant is that once this car was finished with, he said to me, I can buy it then, when the MOT has run out. And it has. And that's why I have it now. But fear not, because it's not as bad as I thought. I took this car into the garage next door and put it on the ramps for an inspection, and well, it does need some stuff. The exhaust is blowing quite badly because it's not very well attached. The sills on both sides are in need of replacement. That means welding all the way down there and quite a bit along the way there. So that is not insignificant. What does insignificant mean? Does it mean something that was significant and now it's not? But it started off significant, so now it's not. It can't be insignificant because it used to be significant. Anyway, that's kind of a distraction. As you can see, there's quite a bit of corrosion there in the usual place. What happens when you open the door? Nothing. It needs front brake pads. That's fine. I've got some front brake pads. And, well, from first inspection, not really a great deal else. It's the welding that's the problem. The welding. Now, if only I had a welder. Should this be the car that I actually do some welding on? Or is that still just going a bit too far with my anticipated skills? It's definitely going a bit too far with my anticipated skills because I don't have the skills that I anticipate you will need to do that job. The other thing that you may feel lets this car down is the cosmetic side of stuff. Just the cosmetic. So from here it looks fine, but The closer you get, you're going to see patches like that. That bonnet's quite good actually, but that's not particularly nice. That is exceedingly rough. That's not really matching there, and that's not very good. Oh, the boot's not too bad, besides some scratches. The grey bits that were once black can be dealt with. More rough bits there, and of course you've seen that. Down this side, it doesn't look as bad. Of course, we have this rather unpleasant looking wing with this, but obviously been resprayed and the paint's reacted. Scuffs on the bumper, both sides. Do you know what though? I'd happily drive it about. In fact, if for some reason I could get this car MOT'd for next month, I'd probably use it next month. And this car was brought to you with the help of Pingu Concord. Pingu Concord. Pingu Concord. Pingu Concord. Pingu Concord. Pingu Concord. I think that was a fairly good shout out for him. Anyway, I have a kind of odd thing really for the R8. The R8 is the car that was responsible for me liking and loving Rovers in the first place. After this car, there was nothing quite as good, but I still like them. I still really like the 25 and the 45 and the 75 sometimes. But these, they just feel a bit special. From the wraparound wood on the dashboard to the wood on the door cards, that's what makes them for me. As I sit in this car with no MOT, I find myself thinking, I've got to have one of these again. Every time I've had an R8, I think I'm keeping this one, and then I go and sell it because I need the money. There was Max, the 416 GTI, which was tatty, very tatty, but I sold it. Before that, there was a car that didn't have a name because I didn't give them names at the time. It was a 216 GTI. And what did I do? I sold it. Now, Pingu Concord himself wants this car, which as soon as he said that to me, I thought, well, that would resolve one of the issues of, you know, how it gets paid and where it goes and everything. But I also thought, but I want it. Why can't I have one? Well, the simple fact is, you've got yourself a lovely Rover 45, and you've got yourself a diesel over there, and a rather silly multicoloured jobby as well. How many cars do you need? My preference in these would be a manual, and with an M series engine as well, rather than the Honda D series. Because, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The M series engine is the Rover engine, and although the Honda engine is characterful and quite powerful for its size, especially at the time, the M series is just a bit more punchy and a bit more powerful and a bit more economical as well. So without further ado, I shall give this car a name, and its name is Vaughan. You see, yeah, after Vaughan Williams, the English composer, whom I actually used to live in a house that was adjacent to a house that he lived in. That is a true story, but it's not actually the reason why I'm calling this car Vaughan. No, there was once on the radio on my way into work, when I was an HGV driver, somebody talking to one of the morning DJs whose name was Vaughan, which was fine. But what interested me is that he named his son Vaughan because he liked the name so much. And I believe he named his cat Vaughan as well, or it could have been a goldfish. But there was something like that. Either he had two sons and he called them both Vaughan, even though he was called Vaughan, because he liked the name so much. Or he couldn't think of anything else. Actually, that's not the reason either. Anyway, on to something else. Wonderful, look at the yellow bonnet. Now you know what I'm doing, don't you? As well, yeah, why not? Just block the exit there, and then nobody can go. and you'll be doing everybody a favour. Does this car deserve a really good beep? Would you beep at this car that's in front of me now? Or would you just think, it doesn't really matter, he's just being a bit careless, does it? You can get around it, can't you? Yes, you can get around it. But what's the point in having an 8-horn shouty thing if you're not going to take advantage of a situation like this? Well, let somebody else beep instead. Now, I've enjoyed driving Eric mainly because of the fuel economy, but backing Nigel, it is just wonderful the difference it makes in the characteristic. These cars do suit the petrol engine much more. It's just joyous, it's just so eager and responsive. It's fabulous. This was a good idea. This was a brilliant idea, taking Nigel out. I've got 3 more days before the beginning of next month, and that does kind of go against the idea of having the other car, so you can take advantage of a car that doesn't really matter if it gets mucky. I just really want to drive this. I just love driving it. So